Hello.
Hi, Emily. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm on the floor making a sign
Making signs?
for the program on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining early, and I'm sorry I hadn't eaten anything in hours. So I just tried very quickly to get something in. Thank you very much for being here.
Of course.
Let me
I think Yasmin's coming too.
Awesome. Great. Let me play a video. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. That's not good.
No,
I gotta,
can't hear it.
yeah. No. Where's the... Okay. So I'm going to begin by sharing my screen and my PowerPoint. Can everybody see it? Okay. So this is part of a three-part series on the job search process from class to career. And today we're going to focus on building your network utilizing LinkedIn and the Firsthand Purchase Alumni Mentor Network. So I want to talk about networking. It's a term that's often used, but sometimes it can be confusing what we mean by networking. So networking is building a community. It's forming connections with people who can help you with your career goals. And networking is really about forming mutually beneficial relationships. And what I'm going to encourage each of you to try to do is approach each networking connection with the mindset of how you can also support the person you're reaching out to as much as you're asking them for help. So again, a mutually beneficial relationship. And so that might be confusing to some students. What can I do for a professional in the who has experience in the field that I just want to break into? So here are some examples. Maybe there's someone that you know that you can introduce them to. Maybe there's a way for you to promote some of their recent work. So if if they're a performer, maybe there's a way for you to share information about an upcoming performance they have on social media. Maybe you've read an article or heard a podcast recently that could be of interest to them. That's a way for you to have this mindset of it being a mutually beneficial relationship or a two-way street. What's really important to know about networking is that more than 70% of jobs are found when you're making these connections, whether they're on LinkedIn or in person. More than 70% of jobs are found through networking. And LinkedIn is a great tool to help you build and organize your professional relationships. And of course, we'll talk about that in more depth today. So how are you going to go about building this network or building your professional community? So something to think about is creating a list. I'm a big proponent of creating lists. So I have to-do lists all the time. I have lists of my contacts. So you can certainly use a tool to do it, or you can, use the pen and paper method, but start thinking about anyone you've worked with, whether it was a part-time or a full-time job, an internship, anyone you've met on campus through any of the clubs or associations that you belong to, any family friend that, is pursuing a career that might be of interest to you. And of course, with this list, you want to include your personal network. So think about your neighbors, any relatives you have, anyone you've met through a religious or a community group. So if you attend church or a synagogue and you know someone through that, you can include them in your network as well. Of course, if you're an active volunteer, you might have met lots of people through some of your volunteerism. I can't say enough about the importance of actively engaging with faculty and staff at your college. When I was an undergraduate, one of the ways that I found out about a potential career path for me was when I sat down and talked with one of my teaching assistants. And she explained to me what human resources was and all the ways you can work in human resources. And it was a career field that I hadn't previously known anything about. So it was a great introduction. I would, of course, encourage you to attend as many on campus or virtual events as you possibly can. That's a great way to build your network. And we'll be talking more about this shortly, but the Firsthand Purchase Alumni Mentor Network is perfect for networking. So when you think about networking, one of the ways in which people start their networking relationships is with an informational interview. So an informational interview is an opportunity to connect with someone in a meaningful way, build rapport with them. It's usually a one-on-one, whether that's virtual or in person. It's a one-on-one meeting between you and an information provider. And that information provider is typically a working professional, and it's where you'll begin the process of gathering insights into different career paths and industry trends. And what's great about this informational interview is that it's not a job interview. So although you want to exhibit as much professionalism as possible, you're not seeking a job from this person. You're just seeking advice. And you'll find that people really enjoy talking about themselves. I don't know if people have had that experience previously, but they are happy to tell you stories about their experiences in the working world. It's an opportunity with an informational interview to share your resume, get some advice on your resume, some tips, and learn about the job seeking practices for that particular career field. Gives you an opportunity to talk about yourself and your interests and the skills that you're developing at Purchase College. And then that makes it easier for them to make connections for you in the future. This type of informational interview is one where we have plenty of questions we can show you and give you to ask to help you practice, asking questions and gaining information. And what's nice is once you've had an informational interview, I would encourage you to stay in touch and make your conversations ongoing, whether you continue to meet in person, talk by phone, send an email, but you'll want to keep in touch with your network regularly, letting them know how you're doing. And certainly, after you've had an informational interview with someone, it's a great opportunity to follow up with a thank you note. So I'm going to stop sharing for a quick second and see if there are questions in the chat and give you an opportunity, anyone who would like to share a question, whether it's in the chat or unmute yourself. Okay, then I will keep going. Okay. So, want to make it really easy for you to request an informational interview. And I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but I will be very happy to send these slides to everyone that's attended the workshop today. So know that you don't need to screenshot it or take a photo. I'm going to send you a follow-up email so that you'll have all the slides and this information. So,
Hey, Lauren,
yes.
we have a question in the chat. Fiona's asking how many people should be in your network ideally?
Wonderful question, Fiona. Thank you so much. And thanks, Emily, for letting me know that question came through the chat. So, great question. I don't know how many of you attended. Chaim Shapiro spoke. He's a LinkedIn expert and presented last week, and I will include a link to Chaim's presentation on LinkedIn. Chaim's recommendation is to try to build your network eventually. And I know you need to start somewhere, so I don't want this number to sound intimidating, but Chaim recommends 500 plus connections on LinkedIn. So it may take time for you to do that. And as a student, you can start slowly. But ideally, over, a period of a few years, I would encourage you to think about 500 plus connections. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to reach out for 500 plus informational interviews, but having that many connections on LinkedIn once you get into, a professional role and are starting to network within the company or organization in which you're working, that would be the goal. Does that answer the question?
Fiona says yes.
Great. Thank you so much. So the informational interview request can be done by email, and we'll talk in a moment about the firsthand mentor network where they actually have an email template or a request template that you can send. But this is also like a template. Of course, you'll want to customize it for your use. But essentially, when you're asking for an informational interview, you want it to be as conversational as possible, that initial email, depending on how well you know the person. So of course, if it's someone that you've met before, you're going to want to start out by asking them how they're doing. Next, you're going to want to explain how you found them. So if it's someone you haven't met before and you found them through the alumni mentor network, maybe they came and spoke on campus, you'll want to mention that. Or you'll, if you found them through LinkedIn, you can mention that as well. Then you're going to include a brief self-introduction. So this would include your major, the year you are in school, or when you graduated from Purchase, and your current career interests. And then lastly, you're going to explain why you're reaching out to them and what you're hoping to learn through an informational interview. Let's talk a moment about the Firsthand Purchase Alumni Mentor Network. It's a wonderful resource that connects you with alumni for these one-on-one career conversations or informational interviews. It gives you an opportunity to look for alumni and book consultations right on the site. It's very easy to register. It only takes a couple minutes. And then you will be able to search and select and connect with mentors. Keep in mind your first connection or point of contact with the mentor through the Alumni Mentor Network is through the Firsthand system. And we encourage you to include a note with your request. And then there's a template actually built into the system that you can edit to customize that note. So I'm going to show you how the system works. And please stop me, Emily, if for some reason the sound isn't playing as I hope that it is.
The Alumni Mentor Network is a website that allows you to communicate with successful alumni and get advice on how to succeed, too. To get started, you may create an account or use an already existing LinkedIn account. LinkedIn is a website that allows you to find employment opportunities. To create an account, go to Sign In, and, assuming you are a student looking for assistance, choose the left option, labeled Get Advice. Go to the bottom where it says Register Now. Next, accept the terms and conditions and fill out the rest of the requirements. Once you've filled it all out, you'll be recommended profiles of mentors who fit with your field, and you'll be given a percentage of how much they match with you. It's like a dating website, except more productive and less stressful. From here, you have the option to look at mentors and useful informational webinars. The section labeled Explore the Purchase Alumni Network allows you to view different types of mentors. In each mentor section, you may alter the filter to whatever field you're interested in viewing. You can input keywords or check off specific options that will narrow your search. Some of these specific options include career conversations, resume tips, mock interviews, and job search. Resume tips allows you to get advice on how to build the perfect resume. Mock interviews allows you to have a test run of your interview to see what works and what doesn't work. This practice will increase your chances of landing the position. Career conversations allows you to talk to people who have been in a similar situation to yours, where you're looking for a career to choose and you're looking for the right path. Job search specifies that you want to talk to your mentor about how to find a job in the field you're interested in. Once you choose a mentor, you can set up a consultation to discuss your interests and concerns with them. You can always edit your profile to change your field of study, biography, career goals, and groups. The bottom of the home page shows you 3 webinars you can watch for help. These webinars give you advice on how to rock your interview, become a successful entrepreneur, and how to create an outstanding LinkedIn profile. If you have any questions about
I'm also going to put a link in the chat to that video so that you can rewatch it. I know it goes by very quickly.
Lauren?
Yes.
I got some information from Wendy about the Women's Alumni Network.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily.
So Wendy is saying that it's accessible as an alumni affinity group on Firsthand Alumni Mentor Network. So you would just have to make an account and then you could locate the Women's Alumni Network on there.
Terrific. Emily, that's so helpful that you were able to get that information so timely. Thank you very much for doing that. So I see that there was a question that also came through. Are alumni able to still be able to receive advice? Absolutely. So yes, alumni can access the Alumni Mentor Network as well. So yes, positively sign up as a mentee. And you will be able to get matched with an alum who's pursuing a career path that you'd like some more information about. Any other questions about what I've covered thus far? Okay, so while I will go back to sharing my my PowerPoint in a minute, but I think it might be helpful to introduce this next resource with a video as well. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you about the resource, share a quick about 3-minute video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about it as well. So one of the most, one very helpful resource that purchase students and alums have access to is called Candid Career. So Candid Career is a terrific site, again, that you have access to because you're a student or an alumni. And it allows you to browse thousands of interviews with professionals in a wide variety of careers. So maybe you're not ready yet to seek out information or request an informational interview. First, maybe you want to familiarize yourself with different industries or career paths. Candid Career is a great way to do it. Because Candid Career has videos where you can watch them as many times as you'd like, and know that the people who are speaking in the videos are not actors. They're not scripted or narrated. They're just real people speaking about their experience, their career experiences. So the philosophy behind Candid Career is that the most accurate information comes from those with firsthand knowledge or job experience. And so it's the people that are doing the work and living in the work day to day about a specific job you may be interested in. And then that gives you the option of watching their video and learning more about it. What's also great about Candid Career is that it gives you advice and resources on all different aspects of your job and internship search. So I'm going to share one in particular. You guessed it, on networking today. So you can familiarize yourself with this resource as well. Give me 1 second. Just, you know what? I want to try to share it as a video. If it's not going to work, I will put the video in the chat. Just give me one more moment. Yes.
While social distancing may present additional challenges to the already stress-inducing practice of networking, you must do everything possible to adapt to these new challenges. With a few easy adjustments, you'll be able to prepare for any kind of virtual networking opportunity. In many ways, networking has been made easier and more efficient thanks to our virtual landscape. We can now form strong relationships and expand our network from the comfort of our own living room. Let's take a look at some of the ways virtual networking is changing the professional environment. 1. Stay comfortable. Networking without ever leaving your home can allow you to situate yourself, prepare properly, and put yourself in the right frame of mind to help alleviate any nerves that are often present during networking events. 2. Meet more people while cutting down on time drainers and expenses such as commuting, parking, and out-of-town travel. This also allows you to easily expand your network globally. 3. Make faster and more
Hey, Lauren.
digital
Yeah.
connections.
I think the volume is just a little bit low. I think if you just adjust your computer
enables you to
volume.
both increase and keep track of your connections
That's better, yeah.
effectively.
Did that work?
Here are some ways that you can take action
Yeah, that
right
worked.
now.
Thank you so
1.
much.
Social media. Familiarize yourself with platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and increase your activity on them. If you like, you can use tools like Hootsuite and Sprout Social to automate your calendar of posts for organization and frequency sake. Doing so can promote online interactions with your existing network and help you make new acquaintances. One final point is to make sure that you update your profiles so that they can appropriately fit your personal brand. 2. Online groups. Join online alumni groups that may be found on your school's website or known groups in your industry. Engage the community by participating in discussions to expand your network and encourage follow-up. 3. Emerging technologies. There are always new platforms emerging, so keep up with the latest technology. For example, Xing is similar to LinkedIn, but it's based out of Germany, offering an international perspective for new far-reaching networking opportunities. 4. Webinars. Sign up for industry webinars to ensure you're keeping up with professional trends, improving your skills, and taking advantage of any networking opportunities that may present themselves. 5. Write. Write a blog or publish a piece of your work. This could be an op-ed about a topic in your field, an article, or a blog. Doing so will not only allow you to exhibit your knowledge and skill, but will also open the door for discussion with other people who have similar interests. Some options you have are to write a blog in an online forum related to your topic of choice, or publish independently by using Jumag, Medium, or LinkedIn articles. Just as handwritten letters were once the primary method of communication, we're transitioning into a new mode of connectivity. Virtual networking may afford some easier and more efficient options for meeting people, but the importance level remains the same. You must take it seriously, and you must take action.
Oh, I'm so sorry about the volume issue. Thank you for the heads up on that. Hopefully it got better when Emily alerted me that it was too low. And I will also put a link to that video in the chat as well. And something to keep in mind about, sort of the virtual networking, I chose to show just one very small video clip from Candid Career. There, as I said, there are thousands of them. Lots of opportunities now, as things are opening up to do in-person networking. So if your preference is to sort of transition from virtual networking to in-person, there are many more events, and you can see upcoming events on our website as well, on our career development page on the Purchase website to find out about upcoming events and opportunities for networking in person. So know that video was recorded sort of during the height of the pandemic when maybe that wasn't an option, but of course now as things are opening up, you do have the option. So let me include that video in the chat. And again, you can find all Candid Career videos if you access it through our webpage in the Career Development Center webpage. Okay, questions? Okay, I will keep going. And I will also include, I will include this link as well. Hang on a second. Let me go back and I'll include, at the end of our session, I'll also include a link to Candid Career that students and alums can access. So ways in which you can build your contacts, of course, use the Alumni Mentor Network, use LinkedIn, and start to figure out where Purchase College alumni are working. And then you can also use another resource called BuzzFile to find out where they're working, so that you can learn more about the company or the industry that you are seeking. And I know in that Candid Career video they mentioned industry groups. LinkedIn has hundreds of affinity industry groups and professional associations. So once you start tap into LinkedIn, it's a wonderful tool to help you meet people in the career field that interests you, and to learn from their group discussions and their posts. The other thing you're going to want to do is, increase your digital presence and your brand by sharing and engaging on social media. So once you have developed an area of expertise, you'll want to share comments, thoughts, articles, blogs, so on and so forth, and you can do so very easily on LinkedIn. When you do reach out and try to contact, whether it's an alum or a professional working in a career field that interests you, you want to send a personal message. And that's so important that I will mention it again in a few slides. So I keep bringing up LinkedIn, but I haven't actually introduced what it is. So let me be specific about what LinkedIn is. It's a professional networking site versus a social networking site like Facebook. So LinkedIn's considered to be a professional networking site with over 700 million users in more than 200 countries worldwide. And it was designed to help people make these connections and share their experiences, share their resume, and find jobs. And, this is a really important statistic to keep in mind, that 93% of recruiters and hiring managers use LinkedIn to fill advertised and unadvertised jobs. So it's really helpful to build your profile on LinkedIn and use it regularly as part of your internship or job search. Let's talk about something that's really, so I mentioned 93% of recruiters and hiring managers are using LinkedIn. It's also important to know that that recruiters and hiring managers will be looking for you online very early in the process. They'll want to check you out and see what comes up when they Google your name. So have any of you ever Googled your name to see what comes up? It can be a really useful tool. And what you want to try to do is have LinkedIn come up when someone Googles your name, because when an employer Googles you, you want something very positive to come up in your application. And your LinkedIn profile is something that you control. And you're hoping that once you've developed your profile, that it conveys your brand. So you're going to want to use LinkedIn as one of your career development tools. You're going to develop your profile, you're going to create this profile, and you're going to use it for network building, to engage with employers, and for your job search process. You're going to explore a variety of career paths on LinkedIn. You don't have to necessarily have a focus just yet. Use it to really do some great exploration. What's also nice about LinkedIn is it allows you to create a virtual resume. And if any of you attended last week's presentation or workshop that was held, I talked a lot about the resume. And often you'll hear from career coaches that your resume should be one page. And good reason for that, because employers are typically only spending seconds, usually less than 30 seconds, to look at your resume. But what's nice about LinkedIn is that there's no space limitations. You can include as many experiences, internships, volunteer opportunities that you've held. You don't have to keep anything to one page on LinkedIn. LinkedIn helps you conduct a job search. It helps you follow employers and do research, because most organizations are going to have a presence on LinkedIn, and you can really learn a lot about that organization from their presence, from what they're posting, from media articles about them. So it's a great way to conduct this job research. You can apply directly on LinkedIn for jobs and internships. You can network, of course, with peers, with alumni of Purchase College, and various career professionals. You can post comments, you can engage with people, you can follow employers. And Chaim Shapiro did a wonderful LinkedIn presentation last week, and you can view his presentation, which gave you, even more in-depth information about LinkedIn on our YouTube channel. So I'm going to stop. I'll do a couple more slides, and then of course, I'm happy to take your questions. So as you look to build your LinkedIn profile, here are some things to think about including. I always recommend to students and alums that they include a photo. Your profile will get 14 times more views if you include a professional looking photo or headshot. And now, we offered students an opportunity to take a headshot at the job fair. So if you did that, great. I would encourage you, if you like the way that turned out, to include that on your LinkedIn profile. But nowadays, your phone camera can take a great looking photo as well. So be sure to include one. And you want to be professionally dressed in this photo, meaning you can get an idea of what people in the industry you're seeking are sort of how they're dressed, whether it's casual or more formal, and use that attire to guide how you will present yourself in your photo. What's key, these three things are really key when building your LinkedIn profile: the photo, the headline, and the summary. So the headline is essentially, your slogan. And sometimes it can be challenging to sort of come up with a 220 character or less slogan or headline. So you'll want to look at other students or other professionals in your field and see how they are describing themselves. That way you will use any relevant keywords in your headline, so that your target audience will know how to find you, because you'll show up in their searches. So look for profiles of other students or professionals in your field for different ideas. But essentially, your headline is a short, memorable slogan, and it's something that you want a potential hiring manager or recruiter to know about you. So I give an example here. Another example might be, honors student seeking marketing position, or engineer building game-changing consumer products. You can, of course, if you're a current student, highlight the fact that you're a student, what you're studying, and most importantly, what you're seeking. The headline on LinkedIn will automatically default to your current position. So if currently you're working as a barista at Starbucks, but that's not necessarily the type of field you're pursuing, you'll want to, of course, customize your headline so it doesn't go to the default. The third thing that you'll want to spend the most time on as you're building your profile is that summary section. And the summary is an opportunity for you to introduce who you are, the type of work or career that you're interested in, as well as why you're interested in the field. So things to include in your summary section would be your strengths, your skill sets, keywords, what you have to offer a potential employer. So think of your summary as your the first few paragraphs of your best written cover letter. You're going to describe what motivates you, what you've done, what you're skilled at, and what makes you unique. Next, you'll want to include all the jobs that you've held, as well as a brief description of each role. You can also on LinkedIn include samples of your work or projects that you've done, academic projects that you've worked on. If you're an artist, you can include a link to your portfolio. If you have videos you want to include, you can include them as well. Be sure to include any volunteer activities that you've had, because recruiters are especially interested in seeing your volunteer experience as well. In your education section, you'll want to include your school, obviously Purchase College, the major or minor that you're pursuing, courses, relevant coursework that you've taken, any academic projects, honors, or awards that you've received. It's also really helpful to include 5 skills, 5 things that you are proficient at. In LinkedIn, LinkedIn has a drop-down menu for you to choose, and here you can include both soft skills and hard skills. And once you've developed connections, they can endorse your skills as well. So you can reach out to your connections for both recommendations and endorsements. Lastly, I want to remind everyone to customize their public profile URL. So it will default to a whole bunch of letters and numbers, and you want to, hopefully just include your first and your last name on your public profile URL. If for some reason it was taken, then you can just, sort of use a hyphen or an underscore between your first and last name. Okay, that was a lot of information I just shared. Questions? Okay. I've got a couple more screens to slides to share, and then I will stop recording and open it up to all questions. So I encourage all of you, as you're looking to build your network, to connect with professionals on LinkedIn. And what you'll want to do is you want to customize that message. There's a connection message that they default to, but I really encourage, and I know our speaker from last week, Chaim Shapiro, also says you need to personalize that connection message, and you'll be much more likely to get a response when there's a customized, personalized message. So here's a real easy sort of template to follow. And of course, you can Google and get some more examples online. But essentially, when you're writing to someone you don't know, you'll use Mr. or Ms. And their last name. You mention either that you're a current student or a recent graduate of Purchase College. And that you're, maybe you admire their career, you're hoping to pursue a similar path. Would they be willing to connect with you and offer some advice by phone or email? So it's a short connection message, but taking the time to introduce yourself rather than send the generic message is the way to go.
Hey, Lauren.
Yes.
Someone is asking if you could show the summary slide for the LinkedIn profile one more time.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Thank you so much. So questions about that slide and that summary section? And just as a reminder, I will send these PowerPoint slides to all participants today.
So they're asking, is there somewhere we could find keywords or skill set words? Great
question. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. In terms of keywords or skill set words, excellent question. You can find a lot if you do some searching on the career field that interests you. You can learn a lot about the keywords or skill sets that are most pertinent or relevant to that career path. So let's look together. I'm going to stop recording, and we can open it up to, to more questions that